if we don't know how much we're making per hour or even how many hours it takes us to service our packages, that's when we end up in this cycle of overwhelm, burnout, anxiety, a never-ending to-do list, sleepless nights, and the worst part is that there never seems to be enough money in the bank to make up for it, right? If any of this sounds familiar to you, I want you to dial in close for this episode because I'm going to tell you exactly how to do a profit analysis on your packages. Hey there, CEOs. Welcome back to the Wedding Pro CEO podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Garr. I'm a speaker, an educator, a wedding pro just like you, and my mission is to help you, the wedding industry entrepreneur, to build a profitable wedding business that you actually love. Today, we are rounding out this 3-part Make More Money series with part 3, and today we are talking all about how to charge more in your business. You guys, this is going to be such a juicy episode. It's going to be short, to the point, and I'm going to give you the exact steps you need to do to start charging more for your services in your wedding business. Now, if you are just coming into the series and you have not already listened to parts 1 and 2, I'd love to invite you to go back to episode 179, where we talk all about how to work more to make more money in your business and when not to. And in episode 180, we talked all about how to convert more of the leads you're already getting to be able to make more money in your business. Today, let's dig into how to charge more in your business. Now, the reason that this is such an important topic and the reason I saved it till last, you got to save the best for last, right? Is because this is a common problem I see when I'm working with students one-on-one or in my accelerator. They think that they need to sell more of their highest tier packages to make more money. And they're like, I don't understand why I keep selling my most basic package. That's the one we sell over and over. But I really want to sell more of my high tier package because it's so much more money. And I'm like, that's great. But before I show you how to flip your selling to sell that higher tier package, let's first do a profit analysis, because I want to make sure that if I show you how to start selling more of your high tier packages, that you're actually making enough money on that service. And 9 times out of 10, they're not. And the reason is because when we start our business, most of us kind of make up our pricing, right? Like, I just want to be super honest about that. Like, you shop your competitors, you look in your local market, and then you kind of think like, I mean, I'll just start here, right? Like, you just make up your pricing in the beginning. And I totally get that. I did it as well. But as you're growing your business, you really need to understand, how much money does it actually cost me to service each of my packages? Because we're a service-based business and most of us do not have product costs, there's so very little information out there about how to price your services. When you have a product, it's like, oh, just multiply it by this, and it's a simple equation. But as service-based business owners, we often say things like, well, it's just our time. Like, we don't have any costs. I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty of saying, it's just my time. I don't have any hard costs that go out to service a wedding. So any amount of money that I make is good money. And I cringe when I remember saying that, you guys. I want you to understand that the most valuable resource that you have is your time. Each of us has a finite amount of time every single day that we can work. So if we don't know how much we're charging per hour, if we don't know how much we're making per hour, or even how many hours it takes us to service our packages, that's when we end up in this cycle of overwhelm, burnout, anxiety, a never-ending to-do list, sleepless nights, and the worst part is that there never seems to be enough money in the bank to make up for it, right? If any of this sounds familiar to you, I want you to dial in close for this episode because I'm going to tell you exactly how to do a profit analysis on your packages. And if your profit analysis is not quite where you want it to be, I'm going to tell you exactly how to fix it so that you can be more profitable in your business and you can start to make more money. Okay, so let's dig into it. The very first thing I want you to do is to go over to brandygar.com/profitable packages. And I want you to download my profitable packages calculator. I created this for my accelerator students. It's the one that they use. It's the one I use inside my business as well. It's the one I'm going to give you for free so that you can go through this exercise and everything will calculate for you. You don't even have to worry about getting out a calculator. It's all going to do the math for you. Okay. It's so, so simple. So head over to brandygar.com/profitable packages and download the profitable packages calculator so that you can go through this exercise with me. Okay. Once you have that downloaded, I want you to, across the top, you'll see where you write your packages. You can say package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4. You can say diamond, silver, platinum, bejeweled, whatever you call your packages. I want you to write the name of your packages across the top. Okay. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down how much you currently charge for each of those packages. So package number 1, $2,000, package number 2, $3,000, whatever it is, I want you to write that down underneath. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down how many hours it takes you to service each of those packages. Now, this is where I see CEOs get tripped up quite a bit. And that's because you're like, I don't know. I've never calculated the number of hours that it takes me to do this package. And that's totally fine. I get it. I hadn't done it either when I first started going through these exercises many, many years ago in my business. Now we consistently track how many hours our packages take us. We do spot checks throughout the year. We know about how many hours each of our packages takes. And so when we do these profit analysis each year in our business to see if we need to raise our prices, we've got a pretty firm grip on how many hours each of our packages takes us to service. If you don't know that number yet, it could take you 6, 9, 12 months to get that number because that's how far out your contracts are, right? So I don't want you to stop this exercise. What I want you to do is I want you to sit down for just a few minutes and think about each package. I tend to think backwards because what I want to do is I want to just estimate. Okay, let's see how many hours I think it takes me to service each of my packages. And let's use that as an estimate for now. But I do want to encourage you to make sure that over the course of this year that you do pick a few clients in each of your package levels to track your hours. We use an app called Hours Tracker. You can also use an app called Clockify. Both of them are completely free. So I definitely want you to do a time study on your packages. But for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to help you estimate. When you're estimating, think about the wedding day first. Okay. So that's the bulk of your time. How many hours do you spend on the wedding day for each of your packages? And then I want you to work back to contract period. So you have the wedding day. Then if you're a wedding planner, you've got the rehearsal. If you're a photographer, you've got the engagement session, a final details meeting, communication with vendors, creating a timeline, communication with the client, vendor communication, venue communication, any meetings that you have that you've offered as part of this package, any designer mood board, budget creation, anything that you have involved from the time they sign the contract, not pre-contract, until the wedding day. And then if you are a vendor who has work that has to be done post wedding day, I also want you to calculate that. Our photographers and our videographers have the bulk of their work after the wedding. That's all work done for that event. So I want you to calculate that time as well. Okay. So now you've got your package names, how much you're charging per package, and the estimated number of hours that you work in each of those packages. Now, I kind of want you to even estimate a little high because some of your clients are going to be a little needier than others, right? And so you want to make sure that you calculate that just a little bit on the high side. Don't try to shave hours just so your numbers look good because we really want to get some solid numbers here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to add in all of your variable costs. Now, let me be very, very clear about what a variable cost is, okay? A variable cost is anything that you pay only if you book an event, okay? Your fixed costs are things that you pay for monthly, no matter how many events you have. So that would be like a VA, any of your softwares that you pay for, any networking things that you pay for. Those are fixed costs. And those are things that whether you have one event or 100 events, those prices stay the same, right? But here in this exercise, we are talking about variable costs. And this is only things that you pay for when you book an event. So I'm going to give you an example of some of these, and these are also listed in my profitable packages calculator that you downloaded. I've got these examples there for you. Okay. So the first one is going to be your credit card fees. So if you pay that fee as the business, then you are going to calculate that as a cost here. If you pass that cost along to the client, You put a 0 here because you're not paying it, right? The next one is going to be any kind of labor on the wedding day that's specific to that event. So again, it's not your VA, it's not your full-timers that are on salary. This is if you're a wedding planner and you have a day of assistant, or if you're a photographer or videographer and you have a second shooter, if you're a florist and you have event day labor set up, okay? So you're going to estimate that cost in there. For wedding planners, photographers, videographers, it's pretty simple. We typically tend to pay our assistants a flat fee or even an hourly rate, but we know exactly how much that's going to be per package. So you can put that in there. That's your assistant fee, okay? The next one would be a client gift. Do you have client gifts that you give to each of your clients when they book you or at the completion of their wedding? If you do, you want to put that amount here. It could be different for each of your packages, or maybe it's the same client gift for every single package. Whatever that amount is, you're going to put that in. And then the last one is going to be if you have a lead or project manager. So if you no longer do events yourself, I'll use my company as an example. Let's say you no longer do event management weddings, right? You only do your top tier packages. Well, so every single time you book an event management wedding, you're going to have to pay someone to do that wedding, right? A lead planner to do that wedding. So if I was doing this spreadsheet, I would put that amount that I pay lead planners to do our event management weddings in this spreadsheet, because I want to make sure that I'm calculating that my profit is going to look different for an event management wedding than it would for my middle or high end package. Okay. So any costs that you have that are variable per event, you're going to add in here. If you need to add in a few more, you're certainly going to do that. But these are the main ones that I typically see among students. Okay, so once you've got all your variable costs in, now you're going to see your hourly rate for each of your packages. Okay, so this is where we get into analyzing the data. You guys know that I love to analyze data because the numbers don't lie. They have no emotion. They tell us a story, right? We're trying to get the story out of the numbers. How profitable are we, and which of our packages should we continue to push and sell? What you will most often notice is that your base package, your most basic package, is more profitable than your other two packages. Why? Most of the time, when you're pricing your services, you price your base package and you're like, yeah, that feels really good. I'm going to charge, let's say, $2,000 for that. And then your next service, you're like, oh gosh, I mean, I don't know, maybe like 3,000. Like you're totally guessing. And you're like, well, that's $1,000 more. That feels really good. I'm going to do that. And then the next one, you're like, okay, well, what if I charge like 4,500, because that feels really good too. That's like $2,500 more than my base package. Like that's a lot of money if somebody pays me $4,500, right? And it feels so exciting. The challenge that you see is that most of the time it takes you so much more time to service those high-end packages that you are not charging enough at all. So let's go back to that example and say we're charging $2,000 for your most basic package, but it takes you 4 times the number of hours to service your full service package, but you're only charging 4,500. You should be charging 8,000 based on your profitability. And then what I always get, and what you guys are probably hearing when you're listening to this is like, but Brandy, no one's going to pay me $8,000 for my highest tier package. I get that all the time. I hear you. I know you're driving or you're walking, you're doing dishes or making dinner, and you're listening to me and you're like, this girl's off her rocker. Like she doesn't even know what she's talking about. No one is going to pay me that much money. They're not going to pay me 4 or 5 times my basic package for my highest tier package. And my answer is very simple and clear. My answer is then stop selling it. Stop selling that high tier package. If you look at your packages and you make $80 an hour for your base level package and you make $50 an hour for your highest tier package, why on earth would you keep selling your high tier package? Why would you sell it? The reason you're burnt out and you're overwhelmed and you have no money left in your bank is because you are lessening your profitability every time you sell your high tier package. That is how you're getting in this state that so many of us find ourselves in, where you have no idea how much money is coming in and no idea how much money is going out, but you feel crazy all the time and you want to close the doors to your business because you're overwhelmed. It's because you aren't charging enough for all of your packages. If you are like, okay, Brandy, that's great. I totally hear you and I feel you. Like I'm going to do this, but I don't want to quit selling my top tier package and I can't charge that much. My second answer would be, Okay, I totally get it. We want to keep selling all 3 or 4 packages. I do think you should have 3 or 4 packages. So I agree with you. I agree with you, Wedding Pro. But what I want you to do instead, if you don't feel like you can increase your prices that much to match your profitability all the way across, then what you can do instead is decrease the offerings inside of your highest tier package or whatever packages need to be adjusted. So if you make $80 an hour on your base level package and you only make $50 an hour on your highest tier package, we can decrease how much you're offering in that highest tier package to decrease the number of hours you're spending on it so that your profitability gets to that $80 point. Okay. But those are really your only 2 options. You can either increase the cost of that package or you can decrease the number of hours you spend servicing it. But what you can't do is continue to sell it the way it is because that's going to lead to burnout, overwhelm, and you closing your doors in a few years because you don't want to do your business anymore. Right. So, this is what we want to do. We want to have the same hourly rate across the board. Now, in every episode, I've given you guys benchmarks because I love benchmarks and they vary, you guys. So, please don't think like you are failing if you're not hitting these numbers. But I do like to give you a great benchmark because it helps. It helps you to know what goals you want to work towards. I would love to see you making $60 to $80 per hour. Okay. That's your goal, is to stay in that $60 to $80 per hour range. If you're under $60 per hour, I'd love to see you do a really thoughtful analysis on your package prices to see if you can raise those package prices or bring down what you're offering. And then your ultimate goal is to get to about $100 an hour. Okay. And that comes with time, but I'd really love to not see you under $60 an hour. Once all of your packages have the same hourly rate, it really doesn't matter which packages you sell every month because they all give you the same profitability. Yes, it's great to be able to sell a full service client, but only if you're making the same hourly rate is when you sell a basic level package, right? Like that's what's really important here, is that you understand that by knowing that hourly rate and knowing how much is going into your packages, you now know that it doesn't matter which package you sell when you're selling every single month. You're not desperately trying to sell those high tier packages. You sell them to the clients that really need those high tier packages. The other benefit that comes from doing this exercise and being really clear on how long it takes you to service each package and how much you're making from each one is that you will be so much more confident in your selling. And listen to me, confidence is key when you are selling, you guys. If you are confident about what you're selling, people are drawn into you. They want what you have. Like they're like, yes, girl, I want to work with you. Like I was so excited when you are confident about what you're selling. That confidence comes in knowing that you have not made up your prices. When somebody pushes back on you and they say like, "Oh, wow, that's really expensive." If you don't know your numbers and you just made up your prices, often it's kind of like, "Oh, am I expensive? Oh, I can do a discount for you. I don't mind." But when you know your prices and you know that if you sell that package, it's taking away from you servicing someone else who's going to pay that amount, when you know that, you will show up in those consults so much more confident about your pricing, and you will start to see your conversions go up in your consults because you were just like, this is how much it costs. This is what I'm going to do to make sure your wedding is flawless and that it is amazing. And I'm worth it. Like, I'm worth it because you know exactly how much you're making on each of your packages. What is your homework from this episode? I loved giving you guys a little bit of homework from each of these episodes. So, the first step you're going to do is to download the profitable packages calculator. Again, that's at brandyguard.com/profitable packages. It's totally free. It's going to calculate everything for you. It will make your life so much easier. So go download that. The next thing you're going to do is just analyze your data. Do you need to either raise some of your prices to get your profitability up per hour? Or do you need to decrease what's included in some of your packages to get your profitability up per hour? Remember, this series is all about how to make more money in your business. So all of these things that I'm asking you to do for homework in your business are going to help you to make more money in your wedding business. Once you have all of your packages at the same hourly rate, go sell the heck out of these packages and so confidently know that you are worth every single dollar that you are requesting for your services because you've done your profit analysis and you know you are not just making things up. You're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You, CEO, know exactly how much it takes for you to service each of your packages, and you're going to walk into those consults with confidence. Okay, you guys, that brings us to the end of part 3 of the Make More Money series, and I hope you have loved this series as much as I have loved putting it together. Thank you for joining me for this 3-part series. I hope that you loved it, and I cannot wait to see you again next time.